Hello to whomever is with us.
Yeah. 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 And that's how I sum up the performance.
Yeah, where do we start? Where do we start? Or try to start? Well,
I can't. As we were just chatting before we started, it looked like to me a pre-season game, a very early pre-season game where they're just getting some fitness. No tempo, no spark, no nothing. Every time they go forward, it was one step forward, three back.
trying to play it around.
Even well, it's not even that. There's even players in positions, but it was like, well, we'll just play this triangle in the middle. There might be someone out wide free, but we'll play this triangle in the middle instead. We'll go sideways, sideways, back, sideways, sideways, back. Then we'll go, oh, there's that person who's free on the side. We'll play it to them now. Now they've got three players around them, and they have to. So they receive it, and then it goes back, and then it goes sideways again, and then it goes sideways again, and then it goes back. And then eventually until someone gets closed out, and then it's lumped forward, hoping that someone will get it. And do that just basically for pretty much all the game. Or give it to Roy, and he'll try and take people on.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I have no idea what they were trying to do.
No idea what I'm trying to achieve.
The defending was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. You can't blame Traore at wing back. He wasn't there. He wasn't playing wing back. It was really bad. Really, really bad. And my hot take is the previous two seasons, I've always, even with a loss, you can't. There's always something to hang on. You go, yeah, there's something there, and I felt confident. Both last two seasons, I've actually felt confident and thought, we've lost there, but we'll be fine. I'm not feeling that this season. I'm just not feeling it at all. I'm actually starting to get very concerned because they're just playing like they did after lockdown, where it's just slow, turgid, underhit passes that trundle across the ground. Oh, it's just it doesn't. It's like they don't know. It's like they don't know how to attack. I don't know what to say. I genuinely don't know what to say.
I'm myself as well struggling for words. First of all, credit to West Ham where full credit is due, and the way they just completely tore us to shreds. They were bullying. They bullied us for a reason. Their attacking force this evening was nothing short but exemplary, ensuring that our defence was mugged off completely and entirely, not being helped by our non-existence in the midfield and the pathetic way we were playing the ball around. Mikel Antonio and the others whose names are escaping me. Just big, tall, strong, aggressive. It's the way that they wanted to play, and certainly were able to use that patience and determination in a pretty spectacular fashion, of course, along with clearly Nuno's worst performance as Wolves boss, 4-0 away in the third game of the season, rightfully will be springing alarm bells. And it just wasn't simply because of us defending atrociously, of course, that being a major part of it, but clearly us having absolutely and utterly nothing springing forward, completely nothing. At the start, the opening, say 5-10 minutes, we weren't looking too bad in terms of being able to keep the ball, flinging it around, and whenever we did come forward in the first half, there was a bit of flair there, but that was all. That was all. I think from the moment West Ham took the lead, they didn't look back, and we couldn't look forward. With us playing a way in which we were just completely outdone in every single way, shape or form. It's mad to say this, but who would have thought, even though Rui Patricio conceded 4, he was probably one of our better players this evening with the several saves he made to ensure it wasn't 7, 8, or even 9.
Oh yeah, I mean, 4-0 was lucky.
It was flattering. It was flattering in the context of it. I'm gobsmacked to speak almost with the with just how just abysmal that was. I'm sure I'd be feeling that everybody, as Steps once sung, feel a deeper shade of blue in the morning, and rightfully so. And I hope that.
I mean, I have to say though as well. I mean, there's all this thought. Oh well, we're not in Europe, so we're not playing as many games, so we'll be much fresher. We don't look fresher.
No,
we look like we've
no excuses.
Okay, we didn't have. Okay, I mean, then someone might turn and say, well, they haven't had much of a break. Sorry, no, not having that. Not having that.
Not this season. No, we've got no excuse. Yes, we had a 31-day or about a month break or whatever it was specifically post the Europa League quarterfinal up until Blades, which it typically which happened to be a very, very good start to the season, and since then it's all been downhill with three defeats.
To be honest,
1 goal scored and 7 and 8 conceded or whatever.
I think we've played about 45 minutes worth in the 3 games, 45 minutes worth of decent football. The rest has been absolute turgid rubbish.
Yep, the second half against Sheffield United was pitiful. And yeah, clearly the key areas is not just a box to box midfield who's able to control things in the centre and really get his teeth into a dominant side like, say, West Ham, who are strengthy, who are tall and just very physical. But then
they've been playing awful for a long time. I mean, come on. I mean, we should have been putting up a better fight against them. Even if they beaten us, we should be doing better than that.
Absolutely. They were bottom of the table. They were bottom of the league coming into this weekend. There is beyond no excuse. We may brag that the Baggies blew a 3-goal lead down the road, and that Villa haven't got off to their greatest starts, even though they won on Saturday, which is fair enough. But no doubt we'll be certainly, I think, sipping a huge dose of our own medicine with the way in which we just completely dominated from start to finish. And yeah, clearly not just a box-to-box midfielder we need, but a new centre-back. Romain Saiss, sadly, is not good enough at centre-back.
I'll be honest, I have to disagree there, because I think out of the centre-halves we have, I think he's the best we've got. Sorry, Willy Bolly. No, he was, I don't know what position he was playing some of the time. He was nowhere near anything, anywhere. Now, everyone was saying before, oh yeah, it's because he was covering Traore. We've got Nelson Semedo now at right wing back. So he's having to cover him, someone of that quality. Sorry, I don't think it is. I could use that excuse more for Saiss on the other side, having to cover Vinagre, who, if he steps over again, I'm going to find someone to go and break his bloody legs, because I'm sick of seeing those stupid bloody step overs. Any of them who do step overs from now on needs shooting.
Or anybody who takes short corners. Or anybody who takes short corners, as demonstrated in the first half, and that could have been an opportunity which completely changed the game.
I hate step overs. They're the most pointless trick. They're not even a trick, because they don't achieve anything. In fact, what they actually do is give the advantage to the defender, because he can poke his foot in and poke the ball away while you're doing this weird step over dance.
Exactly. And unless we were 4 or 5-0 up, there was absolutely no justification for any defender of any kind in the world to try and be as skillful. We're playing for 3 points. We're not playing in the pre-season friendly against Accrington Stanley or whomever else. It has to be said, and I hope he gets told that pretty bluntly. I understand why he does it, and he wanting to attack well and be that kind of very different forward. But it doesn't work, Ruben. You're a good youngster,
Yeah.
but you're not showing yourself in that way.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't mind. The thing is, I actually don't mind players trying tricks, just not step overs, because they're the most useless, ineffective trick. I don't know who they think they're fooling with them.
Exactly.
It's just a trick. It's just I've never understood it as a trick because it just doesn't actually achieve anything. You know, all the other ones, you know, you step on it, spin round and pirouette and all that. I can understand that, and it makes sense because you're changing the back. Yeah, step overs is just like you just look like an idiot. It's as simple as that. You just look like
no, you're spot on. You're spot on. Yeah.
I'll be honest as well. I mean, you mentioned getting a box to box midfielder. I'm not entirely sure that that's the issue. I actually do think that the defence is the reason our midfield can't come out is because the defenders aren't very good. I genuinely think I actually like Sace, and I'll be honest, he was playing more forward and much more in midfield towards the end, and he was doing more than the other midfielders. But he shouldn't be because he's a defender. But the other three, the three at the back, I think they're. I'll be honest, I'm starting to think that they're the issue. It's sucking the team back.
Yeah.
Into having to protect them because they just can't. I mean, it showed again tonight. I mean, Man City was Sheffield United were doing it. Man City were doing it. Just putting balls in between them. West Ham doing the same, just putting balls in down the side of them, straight and just walking through. And then there's some absolute calamitous, just jostling around trying to kick the ball away. Sometimes it's just like, oh my god.
Yes, indeed.
And then other times they can look all right, but it's just, I don't know. I'm starting to really get worried about that defence. And I think it's going to be our downfall because they are stopping the rest of our play.
Yeah, clearly on the basis of the last two games, we're conceding 7 goals in 2 games is indefensible. To be pretty blunt, and to put it and to only to concede concede for 7 goals in 2 games is inexcusable. Just again the way in which West Ham's attacking forwards were able to just dominate that back three. Even Coates, who clearly since his maybe the England cap was the ultimate peak of his career, which would be devastating if it was the case. But the whole of the back three, the whole of the back three since the Sheffield United game has fallen off the cliff. And it's clear that is the ultimate issue, because if they even if we are good going forward sometimes, the way in which this season has started generally, the fact that it is goals and more goals and even more goals as the weeks go by, we could end up in serious bother and would know who to blame. And the way in which we shipped those goals in the 3 seasons of 09, 10, 11 and 11, 12 should certainly, will no doubt bring back nightmares, and understandably so. We cannot afford to chuck such hard wasted work down the drain as a result of complacency. And knowing that those 3 were key starters in the Championship may also be a thing of it's no case for sentiment. Improvement has to be made, and that is if it's going to be, I think the next 10 days of the international window are going to show that. If we fail to get others in, we could have serious problems. No way in which other teams, let's say Leicester City and Everton, for example, have made blistering starts. If they come to us and probably expect to murder us, quite frankly, if we play that badly. I did not expect 7 goals in 2 games and barely an inch covered by those guys at central defence.
Well, I'll be honest, I couldn't really understand taking Traore off either, because okay, he might not be having the greatest game, but the greatest game in what? I mean, compared to who else on the pitch, they were all pretty poor.
Yeah.
But the only one who seemed to be actually getting anywhere was him. So we took him off and put on someone else to play through the middle. And did we really have much of an attack after that?
Not really, no.
Initially, I think the first 5 minutes of when the subs came on, we had a bit of a flurry, but outside of that, and then it soon reverted to type. Except we just had even less. We just had even less. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm not seeing much from the new signings.
So far.
So far.
No, so far.
Not. And then I'm not even. I'm not personally. I'm not even feeling that there's a kind of like, oh, there's a bit there, a bit raw. Could come good. Which you kind of saw. Which you saw with Neto. When he was signed last season, you were like, what he's like, but there was something there, and you went, yeah, there's something there.
And it hasn't fully been the case except for the first 6 minutes against Sheffield United so far this season. Of course, Marcel was. No. I certainly think it will take a while to gel, and there's understandable criticism on social media tonight of, we're buying for the future. What absolute rubbish! We should be getting experienced players in and out, and that is completely understandable. It should be backed up on the basis of a defeat.
There needs to be a balance, doesn't there, to it?
There has to be, yes. Hubert was able to get forward a little bit when he came on. It was obviously his first taste, which is fair enough. I don't.
Saying that though, I suppose Marcel is experienced.
Marcel isn't. Is he demonstrated against Blades?
As is Semedo. So I suppose you can't say that it was only being young players, but
yeah, exactly.
I think they need something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
It's too difficult. It's too difficult. No, that Max Aarons is being chased by Barcelona, for heaven's sake. Max Aarons being chased by Barcelona.
Well, I heard on the radio earlier that
but Semedo is a good buy, clearly.
Leeds were after guy from Norwich, the playmaker one.
Jamal Lewis, is it, or someone like that?
No,
Jamal Lewis has gone to Newcastle. Yeah.
No, what's his name? Plays in the attacking midfielder. I've forgotten his name.
Brewent.
Young English guy.
Is it Todd Cantwell?
That's the one, Todd Cantwell.
People were surprised that Buendia hasn't been talked about too much during the summer.
Apparently Leeds are looking at him for 15 million.
Maybe he could be someone who could help control that midfield, as he was one of Norwich's bright sparks.
Yeah, or would he be too far forwards?
That's a £64,000 question.
I don't know. It's not.
I don't know who could get in. Yeah.
You look at it and think, well, look, if we're not going to improve the defence, which would allow the midfield to move further forward, then we shouldn't be trying to change the style of play.
Yeah.
And do it when you can get those players to allow you to change it. Don't just change the style of play because we need to change the style of play. You need to actually have the players to allow us to change the side. And I'll be honest, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I don't think we've got the players to do that yet.
No, we need greater depth. Yes, we have bought.
Can't release the midfield.
Yeah, we might have bought 5 players during this transfer, and I think all will eventually come good. But we've also sold, I think, 5 or 6, or got rid of a similar number, which means our squad depth is just the same as last season, and that should certainly ring.
Well, I had a thought earlier watching it. I'll tell you what it does show. It does show how much we miss Johnny.
Yeah.
The way he gets, I'm okay. He didn't get on the end of things like Doherty did and stuff like that, but he got round the pitch. So you were mentioning the sort of box to box player.
Yeah.
He was that box to box player.
But just as the left wing back, with the way he was able, just to skate in, skate out. Indeed, the sooner he's back, the better. I think the sooner Marcel's back from his, I think it was his calf. So obviously he's going to be out for a little bit. But it's like against Blades, he just looks so assured. So
Yeah.
Vinagre, sadly, is
I
not
still don't think he
demonstrated
got.
it.
I still don't think he did like what Johnny actually does,
Mm.
where he pops up everywhere. He just
Yeah.
pops up literally everywhere, and we don't have a player who's doing that.
No, not at the minute.
I
No,
really, he'd pop up in midfield and intercept stuff. He'd pop up in midfield and receive stuff. He'd pop up front sometimes,
he would. Yes.
and then but then there'd be a counter, but he'd already be back, and that's hard. I think that's very hard to replace. You know, you
It-
can put a good wing back in, who will be a good defensive fullback type thing, but not someone who got round the pitch like he did. I mean, he really does get round the pitch, and I really think it's showing.
Mm. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'd certainly echo those sentiments. Then the sooner Johnny is back and Walls's medical staff do their magic, the better. As he is one of those who's able to not only command the left side, but be able to, as you say, just float everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know who fully we could say fills that void at the minute. Which I think also should be a clearly worrying factor.
So, who is your man of the match?
From a Wolves perspective, I would have to say Rui Patricio, knowing that it could have been 8 or 9 if it wasn't for him getting us out of trouble many times.
Yeah.
In goal, it's a typical Rui just being himself and just ensuring that we didn't concede further. Sadly, I'd give those defences probably maybe all zeros tonight. In all honesty, if I was to give any sort of ratings, I'd hate to do that, but quite frankly, they'd all deserve it. Say Rui was all right. Nelson on Semedo on his run away to be introduced to the Premier League. I don't think he was too bad. He'll no doubt feel very disappointed at the general performance of the squad. Those two are probably the ones that jump out. And Adama up front, Adama back to his natural position. Certainly, I think is better than as he was in a defensive style. Obviously,
that's the thing. They need to give him more options than just Jimenez.
Indeed.
It's very easy to basically defend against Wolves, because if you can't stop Adama, just make sure Jimenez doesn't get it, because there'll be no one else there.
Yeah. Indeed. My perspective, Rui Patricio is our man of the match. West Ham's, they had, I think the way in which, because of his just physicality and him essentially being an animal, I would go with Mikel Antonio for the way he was just running and controlling at the front tonight. And he's one of those, just when on his day he can be unplayable, and he demonstrated that this evening. Who would you say, if you can think of anybody from a Wolves perspective?
I'm the same as you, Patricio. I actually didn't think Sace was that bad, to be honest. He had a lot on his plate, but I thought the other two again were pretty average at best.
Caught cold, yeah.
They just kept being caught. As I said, out of if I was playing three at the back at the moment, I'd have the other two out if I had the players to put them. But
maybe
probably an unpopular position.
Yeah,
that's just how I feel about it. And I thought, and I'd also have Moutinho out. Sorry, he's not playing very well at the moment.
Him and Neves in midfield don't work, as demonstrated. Then Donker needs to come back in. I think then Donker for Moutinho, Højbjerg in for Bolly or Sace, maybe Max Kilman in. I know Mertan Shabani also was on the bench as an unused sub, so maybe ensure he gets some playing time. this season as a in the youth squad. He hasn't seemed at all too bad. And could someone like Dendonk, who's such a workhorse on his day. So when he's good, he is very good, particularly in midfield. I certainly think he could help control that central area. Moutinho was better than last week, but still not relatively good.
Yeah. Yes, he was. He was better than that. I don't think he could play any worse.
No,
it was really bad last week. But
yeah,
I also think we missed Podence.
Yeah, what can he do with his knock in training?
I know his positioning and creativity, because he does strike me as a lot more a bit more creative than the others, and he's a bit cleverer in his play.
Yeah, I would certainly say so. As he demonstrated with putting nutmegging De Bruyne so sublimely last week,
Absolutely.
which is probably the highlight of the entire week. Of this entire Monday to Sunday. Hopefully he'll be back quicker sooner rather than later. The sooner he and Marcel gets back, at least, and obviously the sooner Johnny then gets back, and then we have some enforcement in the next 12 days, the better. As we,
I was going to say, if we move on to that transfer talk, have you heard any rumours?
It seemed. The ones that mainly jumping out, I think we don't need perhaps at the minute. Thomas Lemar and Douglas Costa.
I'm looking at that and going,
nothing defensive wise, and that clearly has to be our number one aim.
It does. Yeah, they don't seem to be the positions we should be looking to strengthen. To me,
not in a house chance.
Because if you're not getting it really up there, and then. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm wrong really saying that, because we were getting it up there today, but it's just the last third. The final ball in was either poor, or there was only one person to aim at.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just made West Ham's life easy. So
made their life very easy.
Yeah. So I mean, who are the other ones rumoured? Is that Paulinho one still?
Paulinho and Paulinho are still floating
around. One of them is still
floating. Some Chad Tabado, who I think is a defender.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Juan Claire Torbido, who's still been linked as Everton, is centre back with Barcelona.
Yeah.
If whom has broken into their first team quite nicely.
We were linked with him before, weren't we? Before we went to Barcelona, wasn't he? Isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. He was on loan at Schalke, of whom haven't really gone at all places. Well, they sacked David Wagner. Just to state, which was I'm surprised he kept him that long actually, after their horrifying fall. We just need a proper strengthy, muscly defender who can just be able to give some confidence back to the back three.
Yeah.
If not, maybe go the back four, something different. Obviously, though, Nuno being Nuno, I don't think will change his system at all too much, as we've discussed many times on these calls.
Yeah, but again, I don't. But the defenders we've got, I don't think they're capable. I mean, I'm starting to think they're not capable in a three, and if you put them in a two, I mean, it's not. As I say, it's not going to release our midfielders. Our midfielders are just going to constantly have to sit back to protect them, and it just shows. I mean,
it certainly does indeed. It is beyond clear that we need someone who can then therefore enable the midfield to be much more comfortable and not non-existent as it has been for the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think attacking wise, I think our forward options generally are good, are great quality.
Yeah.
But what's it going to be worth without anybody being
But you
able
need
to.
someone to be from midfield, getting into the box to support. because
Exactly.
otherwise-
Even Leander Dendoncker does that fairly well when on his day.
Mm.
I think that's why dropping João Moutinho to the bench, as painful as it would be, could be the right option to go. And knowing of Dendoncker's pace and the way in which he's able to get all around most areas of the pitch as well, could potentially be an option. At least 2 or 3 changes are needed for next week, though, against Fulham, of which. Moving on to that.
I was going to say, a very, very convenient and lovely little segue you've done there.
Yeah.
What are your predictions for next week?
Well, if we play like that tonight, then I might as well not be on next week's call because there may be a few bleepers. Oh God. Well, if Fulham, someone like Alexander Mitrovic, when Alexander Mitrovic is firing on all cylinders, he is an absolute menace up front. There is no denying it. And if we give him the chances in which we gave West Ham tonight, then it could get rather sticky again. I would very happily take a scrappy 1-0 win because it will be a win. Anything to boost the confidence of the players would be quite marvellous. I wouldn't be surprised if you internally are thinking that. But it will be no way in which Fulham have leaked goals in every single way this season. I think we will hopefully there'll be a Neil Warnock or rollicking or 2 or 3 or 4 in the next week. To pretty much everybody, including Nuno himself, and force them to all look in the mirror and think we must do better. And hopefully then that will fire up the lads. But I don't know where the confidence is coming from. I will go on the basis of how bad Fulham have demonstrated. I will go 1-0 Wolves, but nothing more than that in reality. What's yours? That'll be wrong. And they will then pull something quite good out of the hat, which if we do, then fair enough. But I'm not feeling too optimistic after tonight and last week.
No, nor me. I'll be honest, I think we'll lose.
Understandable.
Unfortunately, I see another performance. We'll field the same side and we'll play exactly the same. I'm not convinced at the moment that they know what to do with the formation and what to do with the style of play. And unless they start playing with some tempo, it'll just be more of the same, unfortunately, I think.
Yep.
And it pains me to say that because normally I'm quite happy to predict a win, but I actually don't think they will. I think there's going to be a couple of games yet before the penny drops that you cannot play this turgid, slow football.
And in a back 3, yes. Yeah. What would you score prediction?
2-0.
So if Fulham are good as they demonstrated against us in 17-18 away at Craven Cottage, then I think we will have problems. The way they managed to create that 1-1 draw against us, they should have won on that afternoon actually at Craven Cottage on Boxing Day in 2018. They were the better side. If it was for ironically Romain Saiss and that 87th minute leveller, which at least
they've had a week.
Yeah,
it's not like they're going to have a game in between, so there's no need to say, "Oh, we're going to be tired. Too many games."
There will be no excuses. No,
none
absolutely
of that.
no excuses. Either for us or for Fulham. In fact, I think Fulham play tomorrow, don't they? Yes. Have they played this weekend? I can't remember. It's been that long. But it's. I think this feels a very good point to end it, and then trying to get to sleep and not have a nightmare.
Yes. So then, on that depressing note,
at the end of a extremely depressing week, Wolves-wise, not work-wise, just has been busy and productive and so forth.
But yes, on that depressing note, we will leave it there. and we will see you after the game against Fulham next week.
Which is a
And
2 o'clock
I think
kickoff on Sunday.
Alex will be back, I believe. He was a bit tired this evening because he's an old
Fair
man.
enough.
He's just an old man. So yeah, we'll leave it there, and hopefully see you next week.
Fingers crossed. Adios. Hope it's a better one.